Okay guys, in this video we're going to be upgrading our trailer because we're about to go across country with it, and it's going to be empty, I guess, one way, and then we're going to have a load on the way back. So we need this thing to ride as smooth as possible. I'm going to show you some methods I'm going to use, and we're going to see if they work. Okay, so here we are at the parts bench, I guess you can say. I don't know if these are going to work. I think they're the wrong size. I actually have a larger set of triangle adjustments coming. This is supposed to provide a little bit more travel for it, and it rides on this cushion slot here, and this is where the two leaf springs connect in the middle. I'll show you all that. So hopefully that's going to help, and it also raises the trailer up, I think, 3/4 of an inch, which we also need a little bit of height due to our dovetail. These are what I think are really going to make the biggest difference. And what it is we're getting a bronze bushing instead of the nylon that is destroyed currently on the trailer. So all of these are greasable, and I'll show you how it works. So I'm going to take both sides off. But as you can see, the Zert fittings are on one end, and it's almost like a banjo bolt. We take these bushings off, and you can see the holes right here where they are greasable. So that'll make maintaining the trailer a little bit easier. You know, once a year, go out there and give it a squirt or two. And then another piece, I really don't think it's needed, but the Amazon sell you on what most customers buy together, is this X Factor cross member. And what it does is right above this point, which I'll show you on the trailer itself, it provides a brace that's supposed to help as the trailer goes around turns. So this is a reading on the instructions, and these need to be torqued down to 40 foot-pounds. So some of the things I did was, when I took the bolts apart, I went ahead and put a little grease on the outside, because if you look, it's only going to grease the inside, which that's where the suspension articulates, is on the inside. But just for ease of installing the bushing, went and put some on the outside. And then just went ahead and did a light coat on the inside too. Something I didn't expect is the suspension moved a little bit when I lowered the trailer axle. So I had to just took a large screwdriver and used it as an awl that helped movement. And then with a little bit of force on the axle, very easy to do, was able to get everything. Here are spline, just like I talked about. So when you torque these down, as you can see, 40 didn't collapse that all the way. So but it's on the shoulder, so we know we're tight. It's just, this is what you want. You can tell that we're not collapsing our inner or outer ear here, and we got movement here, but we're actually torqued to specs here. Okay, a little update. So we got the jack under this leaf spring. It was putting it here did not work, and then I put a jack stand under this back axle. That worked out pretty good. You can see this isn't locked up, but it ain't great either. We drove our bushings out. We, like I said, lubed outside, got some grease on the inside. And reading the instructions, I just realized this cross brace is actually meant for every point, kind of like I thought. See, there's a brace there, there, and there, to give some structure to each one of these. But we only got one, and we're figuring it out. So everything is done. We have all greasable joints. Everything is greased. We got half of our X-bar put in. So what I want to do was, let's just do a test. Let's see how good this side moves to the other side. So one-handed. So we can almost articulate that one all the way. Let's just see about this side. I can almost flip that one with just one hand. And you can see it gets tough there because we start hitting this rubber here, which is supposed to help with our ride comfort. So let's go to the other side and let's see what happens here. Well, that one just turns. Let's see. So this is not too bad. It's definitely not as, let's see, we're hitting there now instead of that rubber piece. It does not like to go back the other way. I don't know if this one's going to do any good, and then that one just turns. So not a good test like I thought, but that's what I was saying about the splines. I torqued them on this side and just ruined what those splines are doing. Okay, mission success. We got our tires and we got them balanced. Unfortunately, Tractor Supply made me buy a whole assembly. So now I'm gonna have 3 different style rims here. I have a white with the triangle spokes, I got a white with round, and then I have gray with round. But you know what? If the trailer gets stolen, it'd be easier to identify that way. So took 4 tire shops where somebody would actually balance these. If anybody can explain why places don't want to balance trailer tires, please let me know, because it does not make any sense to me. Why the people don't want to touch them. Is it stigma from the days with split rim that they're scared that it's a split rim thing? I told one tire shop, I kind of started bucking back. I'm like, it's the same looking thing as my Honda Civic with a steel rim. Like, what's the difference? You'll balance it all day, but we say trailer, let's throw the red flags. Ooh, I'm burning out here. But what I went ahead on this one I did the front and rear bolts, and then I'm gonna go to the middle. You'll see this is flipped upside down. I knew I was gonna do the middle next, and I'll get everything oriented correctly for shackles when I do the middle. But a lot easier just do the front and rear, or vice versa, and then I can do everything at one time here. So that's a little update and moving on. Our package came in for the bigger triangle piece. You can see this one fits really close. It might be just a 1/2 inch or a full inch off. I'll play around with it, make sure that we don't want to use the other one. Worst case scenario is what's going to happen is now these will be 2 angled in. Right now they're angled out. So I don't know which one's better or worse, but let's take the old one, or the ones that we think's bad, off and put these on. So before we take these off that we were just talking about, let's talk about our cross brace. As you can see, it is installed. I used our jack to level them off because they were kind of both bowing in the middle, and it took 4 bolts on both sides. So it was a 14 millimeter or 9/16, and I used an adjustable, which was a pain in the butt, but it did work. And now that's braced up really nice. I did run my wiring across the top. As you can see, there's a little gap, which the other side has a lot more because this side overlaps that one. So I hope that ain't gonna be an issue. We're going to have to see. Okay, so this is the 35 inch spread, and I'm gonna say that one needs to come off because what you can see is they're not really level. They're kind of bowed in on both sides, and I was gonna leave it because the other side is kind of towed out. I started thinking, when this suspension compresses, what is it going to do? It's going to extend and potentially hit. And several of the pictures show it a little bit towed out on both sides. So I think the other side is correct, and I'll show you. See here how they're kind of winged out a little bit. And like I said, I'm going to go with that's right, because if the suspension, well, now I don't know. The travel would probably be about the same. No, I mean, even the pictures show that these shackles should be winged out and not inboard, more like I said, canted that way like it is. So I am going to go with my original decision. I'm going to put the other one back on the other side and leave these alone. I'm going to grease our hubs, look at them, take this brake off, look at that before I put the tires on. Ooh, I am burnt out. So every time I lift the back to take jack stands off, they're flipping, and I don't need them to flip. So I just disconnected this one, and I just need to get this side with the brake oriented correctly, and then I'll just do one side at a time and grab it, because one side's grabbing the other and then tweaking and over rotating. So let's try this. So far, hooking both of them up at the same time isn't working for me, so let's try this. Okay, so that's getting better. At least now we're the right direction here. I'm just going to keep jacking up the trailer. I did let the tongue down to help lower the front, so we're just going to get our center triangle piece oriented correctly now. So that worked. I had to crawl under the trailer to torque back our bolts, but we got everything torqued up. Now if I can just hook up the truck without this thing over centering again, we should be good. So, man, what a pain. I'm going on all day, guys. Like, this is like it's like 5:36. I started around 8:30. So, well, let's hook up the truck and see if all this is worth it. So this will be the first time seeing it together. Let's see. Please let them be the same direction. Looking good. And they are. Okay. And you can already see how close it is. And we use the ones that under, what do you call it, spread out. They would have been even kinked more in. So I think that was a good move. See if we can tell if it's any higher. Maybe a hair. It's hard to tell. It says it's only gonna be like 3/4 of an inch. So maybe. Let's look at the other side. Make sure we're the right direction. Yeah. So I can't see using the one that was a little bit wider because, like I said, the springs wouldn't change. It's just how it would have bat-winged it. So we'll take a test ride and see how it does. So my issues were 80 miles per hour. So I think that does sit higher. You can tell the fender well gap is a little bit more. So, all right, let's get going down the highway. So we got the trailer behind us. I definitely do feel it. It ain't bad. It's just I'm being ultra sensitive to it. But we're going at 60 miles per hour, and I mean, it rides just kind of like this old GMC kind of does. I mean, the roads aren't the best here and whatnot. So so 60 ain't bad. I got it up to 75 earlier, and it actually seemed to smooth out. So let's see if we can't creep up to 75. So my bad vibration was really at 80. So we're going to tick 80 just a little bit because really 10 over is 75. So we don't want to. So 75, I mean, it ain't horrible. Let's tick 80. Big bump. Ain't horrible. Oh no, we're way better at 80 miles per hour. This was rattling my teeth out before. Anyways, to the next one, hopefully this helps somebody. And then I'll definitely be able to give an after review when I get back from halfway across the United States.